Suddenly, something strange happened. The mirror showed something different. Instead of her face, she saw deep blue water and an underwater cave. And then a figure appeared moving. It was a woman. No, a mermaid. How it all started. Once upon a time, in a faraway village, there lived a girl named Chisom. Chisom was different from most girls in the village. She was very beautiful. But it wasn't just her looks that made people notice her. There was something mysterious about her. Her grandmother, Mama Uju, had the same mysterious aura. People in the village said Mama Uju was a healer, but others whispered that she had connections with the spirit world. Chisom never really believed the stories until her grandmother passed away and left her an unusual gift. An old ancient-looking mirror. This mirror wasn't like any other mirror you'd find in the market. The mirror was old, with a frame made of something that looked like gold but wasn't quite shiny enough. It was the kind of mirror you would expect to find in a dusty corner of a forgotten room, not something that held any value. Whenever Chisom looked into it, her reflection was sometimes clear, sometimes blurry, and sometimes she saw something completely different, like the bottom of the ocean. Her mother, Mama Chisom, warned her to be careful with the mirror.
Chisom, that mirror na from Mama Oju's side, and you sabi say her matter no clear,
she said with a worried look. But Chisom was curious. She wondered why the mirror was so special and why Mama Uju had given it to her. That night, Chisom sat in her room, lighted a candle, and decided to look into the mirror properly. As she stared at the mirror, the room became silent and the surface of the mirror began to bubble like water. Suddenly, something strange happened. The mirror showed something different. Instead of her face, she saw deep blue water and an underwater cave. And then a figure appeared moving. It was a woman. No, a mermaid. Her skin shimmered with scales, her long hair floated around her like seaweed, and her eyes were full of sadness. The mermaid looked directly at Chisom, her lips moving, but no sound came out. Chisom's heart skipped a beat as she tried to hear what the mermaid was saying. Finally, the mermaid's voice entered her mind, as if someone was whispering directly to her. "Help me," the mermaid begged, her voice echoing in Chisom's ears. "I am trapped. If you do, I'll give you everything you've ever wanted." Chisom didn't know what to do. She quickly dropped the mirror, fear gripping her chest. What was this? A dream? An hallucination? She had heard stories about her grandmother, whispers that Mama Uju was involved in things better left alone. But could any of it be true? And if it was, what had she gotten herself into? But the image of the mermaid didn't leave her mind. Who was this mermaid and why was she trapped? And what did this mirror have to do with Mama Uju? The next day, Chisom couldn't concentrate on anything. The vision of the mermaid kept bothering her. She tried to convince herself it was just a dream, but deep down she knew it was real. She decided she would look into the mirror again, but this time she would be prepared. That night she lighted another candle, placed the mirror on the table and spoke. "Who are you?" Her voice was shaky. The mirror changed again, showing Wata and the mermaid. This time the mermaid's voice was clear, as if she was in the room with Chisom. "My name is Olokun," the mermaid said. "I was betrayed by someone close to me, and now I am trapped inside this cave. Your grandmother, she was involved." Chisom gasped. "Mama Uju? My grandmother?" "It's not possible." Olokun nodded, her eyes full of sorrow. "She wasn't the person you thought she was. She used dark powers to trap me here. But you can free me. The mirror you hold is the key," Olokun said. Chisom's mind raced. Her grandmother, Mama Uju, involved with dark powers. It didn't make sense, but the more she thought about it, the more everything began to connect. The story she had heard, The strange visitors who came to see Mama Uju late at night, the odd objects in her house. But what could she do? She couldn't ignore this call. She had to find out the truth, and the only way was to dive deeper into this mystery. In the days that followed, Chisom began to notice strange things around her. The mirror wasn't just an ordinary mirror, it showed her glimpses of another world, a world underwater. Sometimes she heard soft singing, as if it was coming from far away. Other times, she felt a cold breeze, even when the windows were shut. She decided to visit Mama Nkechi, an old friend of her grandmother's who had known her since they were young girls. Maybe she could explain what was going on. Mama Nkechi welcomed Chisom into her home, offering her a seat and some water. When Chisom mentioned the mirror, the old woman's face darkened and she told her she wasn't going to talk about her grandmother or the mirror. But Chisom pressured her. That mirror, Mama Nkechi said slowly, is not ordinary. Your grandmother wasn't an ordinary woman either. She was involved in deep things connected to the spirit world. Chisom felt a shiver down her spine. But what about the mermaid? She said Mama Uju trapped her. Is that possible? Mama Nkechi sighed. It's true. Anything is possible, especially with Mama Uju. Your grandmother trapped that mermaid, Olokun, a long time ago. She did it to protect your family, but the price was high. Now it seems that burden has fallen on you. Chisom's heart beat fast. Protect our family from what? The curse, Mama Nkechi whispered, her voice trembling. A curse that runs deep in your bloodline. If you don't break it, it will consume you. Chisom couldn't believe what she was hearing. A curse? A trapped mermaid? It all sounded like something out of a storybook. But the fear in Mama Nkechi's eyes was real, and Chisom knew she couldn't ignore it. That woman knew things that ordinary people could not understand. But you need to be careful. If you help this mermaid, you may get yourself involved in something that will be hard to escape. Chisom's mind was made up. She had to help Olokun, but she also had to find out the truth about her grandmother. She thanked Mama Nkechi and went back home, determined to do whatever it took to uncover the truth. That night, she prepared herself. She placed the mirror in front of her bed before she slept. As she drifted off, she felt like she was sinking deeper and deeper, until she was no longer in her room but inside the underwater cave with Olokun. The mermaid was waiting for her. Chisom, you have come, Olokun said, her voice soft but urgent. Time is running out. You must break the curse. But how? Chisom asked, her voice echoing in the cave. Your grandmother used this mirror to trap me, Olokun explained. You must use it to reverse the spell. But beware, there are forces that do not want you to succeed. Chisom nodded, her heart full of fear but also determination. She would find a way no matter what. Chisom began digging into her grandmother's past. She asked her mother questions, visited old friends of Mama Uju. She began searching through her grandmother's old things, trying to find anything that might help her understand the curse. Old letters, dusty books, and strange charms filled Mama Uju's room. As Chisom dug deeper, she discovered an old journal tucked away in a hidden compartment of a drawer. The journal told a dark tale. Mama Uju had made a deal with the spirit world to protect her family from a deadly curse that had claimed the lives of many before her, and for power and wealth. The price? She had to trap Olokun, a powerful spirit of the sea, in the mirror, keeping her imprisoned for eternity. With the journal in hand, Chisom knew what she had to do. But breaking a curse wasn't a simple matter. She needed to perform a ritual, one that would require courage and strength. Slowly, a picture began to form, one that shocked her to her core. Chisom's hands trembled as she read the final entry. The curse has not been fully lifted, Mama Uju had written. My granddaughter must be the one to end it. She must free Olokun, or the darkness will consume her. Mama Uju was indeed powerful, but she didn't always use her powers for good. Long ago, she got involved with a group that practiced dark magic. They promised her power and wealth, but at a cost. One of the rituals involved trapping a powerful spirit, which was Olokun in a mirror. In return, Mama Uju gained freedom, wealth and long life, but the curse passed down to her descendants. Chisom felt like the ground was shifting under her feet. All this time, she thought her grandmother was a kind, wise woman, but now she knew the truth was more complicated. She went to see Mama Nkechi again and told her what she had discovered. The old woman nodded, her face serious. You must be careful, Chisom. Dark forces are involved and they will not allow you to break this curse easily. Chisom didn't let fear hold her back. She would do what she had to do. She would free Olokun and in doing so, free her family from this curse. Chisom gathered the items mentioned in the journal. Seawater, a special herb, a bowl and a mirror. That night, she prepared herself for what was to come. The air was thick with tension and every shadow in the room seemed to move with a life of its own. She placed the mirror on the floor, surrounded by a circle of seawater. As she began to chant the words written in the journal, the room grew cold and the lights flickered. The mirror's surface rippled again. But this time, it wasn't just Olokun she saw. Dark shapes moved within the glass, shadows that twisted and turned, reaching out towards her. As she chanted, the mirror began to glow, and the room filled with a cold breeze. The surface of the mirror rippled, like water flowing inside. Suddenly, a shadow appeared in the mirror, not Olo, but something darker, something evil. You will not succeed, the shadow hissed, its voice sharp like broken glass. This curse is forever. Chisom didn't let the fear consume her. She continued to chant, louder and louder, until the shadow began to scream. Adanna's voice wavered, but she forced herself to continue. The shadows in the mirror grew stronger, trying to escape, trying to drag her into the darkness with them. But she refused to give up. She had to free Olokun. She had to break the curse. The mirror started to crack, small at first, then larger, until the whole thing shattered into pieces. The shadows in the mirror erupted into the room, swirling around like a storm. She felt their cold touch, their anger, and their desperation. They wanted to keep the curse intact, to keep Olokun trapped forever. But Adanna wasn't alone. Olokun's voice echoed in her mind, urging her to be strong, to keep fighting. Don't let them win, Chisom. You are stronger than they are. With a final burst of strength in Chisom chanted the last words of the ritual. The mirror glowed brightly, and the shadows screamed in fury. The light grew until it filled the entire room, blinding Chisom with its intensity. When the light finally faded, the shadows were gone. The mirror lay shattered on the floor. For a moment, the room was silent. Then a soft voice filled the air. Thank you, Chisom, Olokun's voice whispered. You have freed me. Chisom collapsed on the floor, exhausted but relieved. The mirror was broken, the curse was lifted, and Olokun was free. But the journey wasn't over yet. The morning after the ritual, Chisom woke up feeling different, lighter, as if a heavy burden had been lifted from her shoulders. She stepped outside and saw the village bathed in a soft, golden light. The air was fresh and everything seemed more vibrant, more alive. The villagers noticed the change too. They whispered about how Chisom had been blessed, how she had done something extraordinary. But Chisom didn't care about the gossip. She was just glad that the curse was gone, that she had done what needed to be done. As she walked through the village, she felt a sense of peace she had never known before. The shadows of the past were gone, and a new dawn had come. Adanna knew that life would never be the same, but she was ready for whatever the future held. If you are enjoying this story, please consider sharing the story and subscribing to my channel for more amazing and beautiful tales from the heart of Africa. Thank you so much for watching and listening to this story. I would like to know the country you are watching from. Please write the name of your country in the comments section.